Okay. Well, good evening. We have an exciting class today, a different type of class from what I normally do. Today, we're going to focus on one particular person and the tangles that he's created. And his name is Tomàs Padrós. He lives in Barcelona, Spain. And I picked up bits and pieces about him. His things have a really lovely quality. And today I read something that said he trained and originally taught technical drawing. And I think you can see a bit of that in his work. All right, come on. I'm going to show you here, take you to his Facebook page. And if you just friend him, he'll friend you back. I friended him and I'm his friend now, although he's never met me. But I think this is his personal page on the internet. I think he has a lot to do. And so he doesn't need to take time to have a website and all that. Everybody else seems to want to share his work, but this is just something, a very different take on what I would have done. This is just a very normal Knightsbridge kind of, not Knightsbridge, what do we call it? Floors thing. Well, he shaded some of them, and then he imagined a light shining on just a piece of metal or something that cast a shadow underneath it, and combined those and turned it into something really extraordinary. And his little squares are always so perfect. I mean, look at that. Mine always look cattywampus, not his. But he has apparently teaches some things online. I haven't figured out about that. But this is something he did. There's everybody weighing in. You know what I should do? I should go back to posts, I guess. Actually, I'm going to skip that. And what I'm going to do, well, no, wait a minute. I do not navigate Facebook as well as I should to get you back to his feed. But here are photos from his page. And just clicking on the photos, you can see things he's done. These are some things from the new project pack, and they have this working on translucent paper. So you draw some of it on one side and some on the other, and then it looks like you're looking through translucent paper, exactly like we're talking about. But by going to his photos and looking down, you can find all of his step outs and the tiles he's tangled. One of the things I really appreciate about him is he's a teacher, and he gives very careful instruction and explanations about how to do things. It's not just pictures. And then he does numerous, what we would call tangliations, this variations of the tangle. This was the one I was looking for earlier right here, which is just so cool because a very simple thing, and it's the shadow. As you can see, there's shading on the pipes. There's a little sparkle on the ball, and then there's the shadow that's cast. And so he really pulls 3 dimensions, takes it kind of to a new level. And taking old tangles and making them look new again. Like it's sort of like diva dance, but he uses pearls and all. Most of his tangles, not all, but well, I'm going to just say many of his tangles are really not that difficult, but there's just very exacting work and a great deal of artistry. Look at those lines, and I'm sure that's all freehand. Just so careful and beautiful. And then you see more explanations. Here's one, that's a 3x5 card. And then he shows you how to do it, all the step outs, all the instructions, and you just keep going and going. I think he has 30 some odd tangles and then the variations. And these are all, it looks like these are on hexagonal cards and put them together. Wonderful, wonderful things. Every piece a work of art. And it goes and goes and goes and goes. So just find him on Facebook, Tomàs Padrós. I have a hunch most of this is public. You might just be able to follow him and see everything, but friend him and then you can follow him as well. And there's just a wealth of information, and just trying to duplicate his work, I think, will make you a better tangler. It already has me in that regard. It gives me something to shoot for, and it teaches me also the importance of taking my time and being very careful with how I do things. I made a stack of tangles. If you saw some of them in the letter that I sent out. The first one I worked on in the last few days was this, let me lift this up here, was this thing called Membranart, Membranart. And I think we should try this. This is a very classic one of his. It's one many people use it and duplicate it, and the technique is then, I'm having trouble here. The technique is used in many different ways. But this sort of works like, I don't know, silly putty pulled out. It doesn't have to, but that's the way this works. And you begin first with the top layer, and then you draw the next layer underneath. And if you can either color what's beneath it in, or you can continue with layers drawn behind. And they don't have to just be this kind of disfigured Swiss cheese thing. You can use all sorts of different shapes, and the final layer can be something else entirely. So I feel like I could work for a month with just this tangle and come up with all kinds of cool stuff. I've gone ahead and colored in the second layer. He seemed to do that too, to kind of help differentiate the two layers. Anyway, there they are. There's that. Then what I originally started doing when I got off on this kit, I was looking for something to precede Halloween. And so I got out, I tried to copy these, and this is, it's called MASX, MASX, I guess. Anyway, it's very simple to make, and you can do all sorts of things to turn this into interesting masks. I kind of went over the edge on this one. So didn't quite finish the shading on it or anything like that, but I came up with dog-looking creatures. Imagine that. I'm not sure if I would want to use that as a prayer card, but it was one of those long things. If you look this sick, well, you really need some prayers, you know. I used this one. I added these bottom things, but you can read it either way. You can, it's an upside down side. Like on here, you can see how that looks the same either way. And you begin with the eyes, and the eyes can be any shape. So, masks. He is sort of known for being, what was the term? I wrote it down here, a minimalist optical illusion tangler. So minimalist optical illusions. These sort of look like, I don't know, octopus arms. And the name of this tangle is Tentaculus. And this one I found difficult to draw, but it was worth the effort. Then there's this one that he calls tissue. And it sort of looks like he's grabbing and pulling things just out of the background. He pulls these things. It's called tissue. I had a little trouble with this too, my first time, and this is a first try. This one, let's see. Okay. I need to work on this. This was my first try at this one. It's called F2F, fringe to fringe. And it's like he cut these little pieces of fringe out of the paper and then lifted them up, and then the shadows cast are underneath it. Many variations on this theme, but it again is an optical illusion. Maybe it's seen better this way, as though the light is coming from over here. And I go ahead and show you my beginnings to let you know I don't believe that, well, I know I did not get the full impact of these things until I started drawing it, and then realized when I compared mine to his, things that I had missed the first time that are on his, like curving these little papers up and so forth. It really gives it a lot of personality. Here's another one where you sort of see it, looks like this, it's being held down, and then this is lifted up. It's done really with just this one little element, like we're back with fragments again. And it's called Cangular. And there you go. On his Facebook page, you can see the many different ways he's used this, but that's the basic tangle. Now there's chorus, and I did this morning and was not, I don't like the way I did this, but it sort of goes with mask, because you start with the eyes and then you take lines from the eyes and arrange it in a different way. So in a way, this is a tangliation of this one, which he puts all together. And seeing how he continues to play with his tangles and do them over and over again to get all the variations, I think is, first of all, he's an excellent teacher and explores things very much before he brings them to his students, unlike some people sitting in on this conversation. And he pushes it. He pushes his tangle and doesn't just say, oh, well, that's the tangle, I'm going to move on to something else. Now he keeps pushing it, changing it, shifting this, doing that. A lot to be learned from studying his work, at least for me. So with that, I think let's start today with this. Just, you can do this on a tile, or you can do it on a bookmark or in your journal, but we'll just begin doing something pretty simple. So take a piece of paper. This one is called MASX. We're going to set it in front of us, and we can begin our tangle time. So I'm going to play the bowl, and we're going to sit for a minute and appreciate what we've got. And then as a string, let's just run a light line right down the middle of this. And another one to either side, another two, one to either side. And we'll begin here. By making a sort of rice shape. They don't have to be perfect, no mistakes. And now, think about this. Come around and let's just extend that line down. Maybe curved it a little much, but that doesn't matter. Just extend it down like that. And the next one like that. And on the next one, we'll extend it up. Okay. Actually, I think I'm going to go with this, the inside part, not with these things here so much. Well, actually, it's just these lip things that I'm not going to put on it, but it'll make it a little more interesting. So what we'll do here is across from here to here, we'll just draw kind of arched like that. Turn your tile to make it more comfortable if you need to. And once you've done that, we'll turn it upside down and do the same thing on the other side. Now we're going to finish this off here like that. Once you've got this down, if you want to try for a variation, you could extend this nose, you can extend all of these things, you can manipulate it, but we're just going to take the very simple form today, right now, just to get the basics down. And now we can go ahead and put the spooky looking eyes in. So the way I did those was just to draw a circle in the middle of all of them. Okay. And now I'm going to put a dot in the middle of the eye. Okay. I'm going to bring a little V shape, starting above the eye, and make it a V shape, sort of like that. There's a whole lot of things you can do with that. And once I've done that, I'm going to just add some little lines here to make it seem like this is higher than the rest, a little dome sort of thing. You can put all kinds of things in there. All right. Now let's do a bit of shading. We've got right in here, we can shade. So we've shaded on the V's, and now we're going to do a little shading here, right there. And right there. And right there. So on either side of basically of the nose, and maybe a little bit over the eye like that. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Remember, we're going to come back with our tortillon. Okay. Grab your little tortillon when you've done that. And kind of work that graphite into the paper a little bit and spread it out. I'm spreading a little bit of the graphite on underneath the eye, each eye a little bit, away from the nose. Sort of give the mask the feeling of having had a hard night. So kind of no matter which way you turn it, you've got a face looking at you. All right, I'm going to leave this. Go ahead and finish up a little bit, but I'm going to leave this right here like this. And then I'm going to come back later and do things maybe on the border or add some things on the top and the bottom. Maybe some auras or something. Things that you've already have in your quiver. But that is the basic Tangle MASX. And of course, I don't have it on the back, but let's go ahead and write that so we don't forget it. It's going to be MASX. Somewhere I read why he does his accents this way, but I don't remember it anyway. But he has a reason. So with that, let's lay this aside to work on later. Take a little breather, stretch your hands and your arms if you need to. I may leave this lying here for a minute. Loosen your shoulders. Look off into the distance so that you can be able to focus again in a minute. And this time, let's grab a square tile. So I'm going to leave you with two projects to kind of finish, but I want us to work now on Membranart. Let me dig that one out over here. And we're going to kind of aim in this direction. So I'm not going to do the dots and the border. We're just going to cover the whole tile like I did here and see what we get. All right. And we're going to be bold. We're going to jump in immediately with our pen, no pencil, just going for it. And we'll start by just putting in some arches. Let me see, I'm on the right side of the paper. Oh yes, this is a real tile. Okay. think my pen may be running out of ink or something because I'm needing to go back over these lines a little bit. So I'm leaving plenty of space that's not included in this part, so we have room to put in stuff behind. If you didn't leave as much space, that's all right. However you do this is fine. There is no right or wrong. Now I'm going to cut out some holes here, some Swiss cheese. And I'm going to take much of the part that's outlined by these shapes and open up behind it. All right. I'm going to show you this to show you that, excuse me, Ginger needs to go to the other room. Okay, I'm back. Maybe you had a chance to kind of look at this and see how the lower piece, how I did that. There are, like I said, there are many different ways of doing it. But my goal was to leave more open space on the top layer and maybe less open space on the bottom. But you could as easily do it the other way around. So then let's come in here and practice our drawing behind skills. So I'm going to just add some Swiss cheese here. But then I also want to run this off the page as well. So I'm going to make these pieces. And when you're doing this later, if you want to start out and sketch a lot of this in pencil, feel free. It's your art. I really think this is kind of fun. And finally, hold it out at arm's length or step back or push your chair back a little bit to see if it looks like you need another hole in the background or not. And you might not even be able to figure what you need until you look at what happens when you fill in the bottom holes with, or if you wanted to leave that white, you could fill in the bottom membrane. But let's go ahead and stick with kind of how I started. This was a white tile. This is a white tile. And I came back in with a black marker and filled these in. You may not have a black marker with you right now, but we can get a pretty good idea if we just kind of shade this in with pencil, or you can even pick a color from a colored pencil and just shade these bottom holes in just very quickly. And then we'll be able to see the contrast. So now when I look at this, I see places where I could put more holes in the background, but I don't know that I need to. I could put one right in here or like that, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Now there's one more thing I want to show you. And I think I have about 6 minutes or so. On this particular tangle, if you want it to look like these membranes are a little thicker, have more bulk to them, you can do that by shading them a little bit on one of the edges. But to do that, we need to pick a direction that the light would be a light source, whether normally in Zentangle, we say there's no up or down, no right or left. And while there may be no up or down here, there definitely is a light source. So our light source, the light source that I chose comes this way. And so it casts shadows on these edges, on these upper edges where the light goes over and the shadow is cast along those edges. That is not necessary to make this tangle look good, but that is something else you can do on your own. If we're going to do it and I pick this is my light source, then I will put it on that edge and that edge. No, not that edge. We'll put it on as though the light was hitting the top of it. This was a thicker piece. One way to do it, but not necessary. All right. And you can do the same underneath. As well. I used 2 different colors. I used a very light colored marker for the bottom layer and then black for the whole. I could have put a different color on that top layer and then we could, goodness. Yes, we're having a storm. This is done on a beige tile. And so I put a little bit darker, something to darken the bottom layer. And then the top layer is just the color, or what we call a tan tile. The top is just the tile itself. So your assignment over the next couple of weeks, while we won't be meeting, is to play with some of Tomàs Padros's Tangles. Go on his website, well, on his Facebook page, look at the stuff he's done, look at the step outs. And then if you feel like you'd like somebody to demonstrate, you can look on YouTube and find somebody to demonstrate that tangle. I will try to put things up for you on our page to encourage you along the way. I make no promises. Next, this coming week is Halloween, but the following week I'm going to attend the 4-day conference through Zentangle headquarters. I'll be attending on Zoom, and I'll come back to you with lots of goodies, I hope, and lots of fun things. So I will keep you posted. I will keep you all in my prayers, and I hope you will keep me in yours. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will see you in 2-3 weeks, if not sooner.